No man is free who is not master of himself. Epictetus. What if I told you that the small, seemingly harmless habits you repeat every day are quietly shaping the life you'll live tomorrow, and not always in your favor? Those tiny choices, the ones you barely notice, have a way of stacking up, silently controlling your energy, focus, and even your happiness. They aren't dramatic, they're subtle, but their impact, devastating if left unchecked. Imagine feeling frustrated, stuck, or powerless despite your best intentions, only to realize it's not circumstances holding you back. It's the weak habits you've allowed to creep in unnoticed. The good news is, you can flip the script. By identifying and destroying these weak habits before they gain momentum, you reclaim control, sharpen your focus, and start living with purpose rather than reaction. In this video, we'll break down the Stoic approach to self-mastery, showing you how to recognize the subtle habits that undermine your potential and replace them with practices that empower. Stick with me until the very end, because the strategies I'm about to share aren't just quick fixes. They're the blueprint for building unshakable discipline, inner strength, and a life where you truly call the shots. Number 1. Identify habits that secretly control your life. Take a moment and think about your day. Really think about it. How much of it is dictated by routines that you barely notice? That cup of scrolling, the repeated sighs of irritation, the internal excuses that keep you from doing what matters most. These are not just harmless quirks. They are habits, and they are quietly controlling you. Seneca warned, "We are always complaining that our days are few and acting as though there would be no end of them." Do you see what he's saying? Too often, our lives are being steered by invisible habits, and we don't even realize the steering wheel is in our hands, or that we've handed it to someone else entirely. Identifying these habits is the first step toward freedom, toward self-mastery. The tricky part is that weak habits don't scream. They whisper. They sneak into your daily life and slowly erode your clarity, energy, and focus. You might think you are in control, that you decide your actions moment to moment, but habits have a way of running beneath the surface. Epictetus reminds us, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. You can't do what you have to do if your hidden routines are dictating your attention, your mood, your decisions. Awareness is your weapon. You have to shine a light into those corners of your day where habits quietly hold sway. Start with observation. For the next few days, track your actions, not just the big ones, but the small, repetitive ones. Notice the automatic behaviors, the triggers, the tiny patterns that repeat without conscious thought. Where do you default to distraction? Where do you allow irritation or fear to dictate your choices? The act of noticing is profound. Just by recording what you do, you begin to take ownership. You are no longer the passenger, you are the driver. And once you see what's controlling you, you can confront it. Next, question the habit. Ask yourself, what am I gaining? What am I losing? Weak habits rarely serve us. They often steal time, energy, or peace of mind. The Stoics teach us that every action should be purposeful. Said, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Use your awareness as an impediment breaker. That weak habit is standing in the way of your clarity, your focus, your self-mastery. Name it. Challenge it. Let yourself see it fully, without excuses or justification. Then comes the crucial part, small, deliberate change. You don't need a dramatic overhaul. Weak habits are powerful not because of their size, but because of their persistence. Replace them with tiny, conscious actions that align with the life you want. If you notice your attention drifting to mindless distractions, pause and take a deliberate breath. Redirect. Anchor yourself to what matters. Repetition is your ally here. Each moment you resist the subtle pull of a habit, you are reclaiming a piece of yourself. Each conscious choice is a brick in the foundation of self-mastery. Finally, reflect daily. Ask yourself at night, where did I let habits control me? Where did I reclaim control? This is not about guilt or judgment. It's about continuous observation and refinement. Stoicism isn't perfection, it's practice. The more intentional you become, the less power weak habits have over your life. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, you begin to regain autonomy. You start to feel lighter, sharper, more alive. The chains of automatic behavior loosen, and you begin steering your life with purpose, rather than being steered by the invisible forces of weak routines. So start now. Don't wait for some grand moment of realization. Take a week, a day, an hour, and watch yourself. Observe, question, act, and reflect. Identify the habits that secretly control your life and then quietly dismantle them. This is the Stoic path to self-mastery: deliberate, patient, relentless, and profoundly freeing. Your life is yours to command, but only if you see what has been commanding you all along. Number 2, replace destructive routines with small, intentional actions. Every destructive habit you hold onto chips away at your potential, quietly eroding your strength, your clarity, and your peace of mind. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. Seneca warned, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality." That fear, that mental fog, is often what allows weak habits to take root. They creep in unnoticed, disguised as comfort or convenience, but they drain you. The first step to reclaiming yourself is to identify these routines, not with judgment, but with awareness, and then consciously replace them with small, intentional actions that serve you instead of diminishing you. You don't need to demolish every bad habit in a single day. In fact, trying to do so often backfires, leaving you frustrated and defeated. The power lies in deliberate, incremental change. Start by pinpointing a single habit that sabotages your focus, your energy, or your well-being. Then decide on a tiny, deliberate action to replace it. The Stoics called this premeditation of misfortune, imagining obstacles before they appear and preparing a response. In this context, think ahead about the triggers for your destructive routine and plan a small, positive action to take instead. It could be as simple as taking 3 deep breaths, writing 1 line in a journal, or standing up and moving for a minute. The action itself doesn't need to be grand. Its power comes from consistency and intention. Notice how these small actions ripple outward. One moment of conscious choice interrupts the automatic pull of the old habit. One intentional step creates a crack in the pattern that has held you captive. Epictetus reminds us, no great thing is created suddenly. Just as your habits formed slowly, so must your new ones. Commit to the tiny, repeatable actions. Anchor them to existing routines so they become automatic, yet always infused with your awareness. Over time, these small, deliberate choices begin to dominate your daily rhythm. The weak habits that once ruled your day lose their grip. Practical exercises can make this real. Each morning, take a moment to identify a habit you want to replace that day. Write down the small action that will counter it. Then, each time the old pattern arises, pause, remember your intention, and act differently. This builds a muscle of self-mastery. Over time, your mind learns to associate the trigger not with mindless repetition, but with deliberate choice. Your life becomes a series of small victories, each reinforcing the other, and your old destructive routines begin to fade quietly, almost imperceptibly, until they no longer have power over you. Replacing destructive routines isn't just about avoiding harm. It's about actively cultivating strength, resilience, and clarity. The Stoics teach that every action should serve your rational self. When you replace a weak habit with a small, intentional action, you are exercising reason over impulse, choice over automatic reaction. You are training yourself to respond to life with deliberation, not habit. Imagine the freedom in that, every day shaped by conscious, empowered decisions instead of mindless repetition. That's the core of self-mastery, turning every small, intentional act into a building block for the person you want to be. Start now. Identify the weakest habit that saps your energy or focus and pick a tiny, purposeful action to replace it. Commit to repeating it consistently, no matter how small it feels. Each repetition strengthens your will, each pause before reacting sharpens your clarity, each intentional choice chips away at the power of the old routine. Over time, these small, deliberate steps accumulate into a profound transformation. This is not quick or flashy, but it is unstoppable. This is the Stoic path. Replace weakness with action, chaos with deliberate order, and watch as your life shifts, not through grand gestures, but through countless small, intentional steps that make you unshakable from the inside out. Number 3, use daily reflection to catch bad habits early. Take a moment and think about the small choices you make every day, those tiny, almost invisible habits that slip under your radar. They might seem harmless in isolation, but left unchecked, they compound quietly, shaping your character and steering your life in ways you may not even notice. This is why daily reflection is crucial. Said, "Look well into thyself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if you will always look." By taking the time each day to reflect, you catch the weak habits before they gain momentum, before they solidify into patterns that quietly erode your self-mastery. Reflection is like a mirror for the soul. It shows you the cracks while they are still manageable. You need to make it a ritual, not an afterthought. Every evening, carve out a few minutes to review your day, not with judgment but with clarity. Ask yourself, where did I act in ways that didn't serve me? What impulses did I follow that I wish I had? Where did I give away my focus or my discipline? Write it down. The act of writing forces honesty and slows your mind enough to truly see what's happening. Seneca reminds us, every man's life lies within the present, for the past is spent and gone, and the future is uncertain. Reflection doesn't dwell in the past to punish yourself. It's a tool to illuminate the present so you can act differently tomorrow. The power of this practice is in its consistency. Habits are like roots. They grow quietly beneath the surface until one day they're strong enough to hold sway over you. Daily reflection is your early detection system. It allows you to notice the tendrils of weak habits, hesitation, avoidance, procrastination, small acts of giving in to distractions before they take hold. Once you see them, you can intervene immediately. You can pause, adjust, redirect. You gain the upper hand while the habit is still pliable, still small enough for you to dismantle. Here's a practical exercise to make this real. Every evening, list 3 moments when you acted against your better judgment. Then for each, write one small action you will take the next day to counter it. Keep it tiny, manageable, because small wins compound faster than grand declarations. Reflect on how you felt in each moment. Were you restless, distracted, anxious? Understanding the emotion behind the habit is as important as noticing the behavior itself. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." Reflection helps you define what kind of person you want to be and spot where your current actions diverge from that vision. Don't let reflection become a fleeting thought. Anchor it. Set a specific time, maybe just before bed or during a quiet moment after lunch, and make it non-negotiable. Over time, you'll notice a shift. You start to anticipate your tendencies, catching weak habits in real time instead of realizing weeks later that they've taken root. The act of looking inward daily trains your mind to be vigilant, to notice when you slip, to respond instead of react. It's not about perfection. It's about awareness, adjustment, and growth. So begin today. Commit to 5 minutes of daily reflection. Ask yourself the tough questions. Write honestly. Observe the patterns that emerge. And then take deliberate action to correct the course before these habits grow into something that could quietly sabotage your life. This is Stoic self-mastery in motion. Small, consistent awareness that empowers you to destroy weak habits before they destroy you. Step into this practice deliberately and watch as the subtle, steady force of daily reflection transforms your habits, your choices, and ultimately your life. Number 4, leverage discomfort as a tool for habit transformation. Discomfort is something most people spend their lives running from, avoiding at all costs, yet the Stoics saw it differently. Seneca once said, "Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body." That's the key. Discomfort is not an enemy to flee from, it's a tool, a lever you can use to transform weak habits into something stronger, more resilient, more aligned with the person you want to become. Every time you shy away from discomfort, you reinforce weakness. Every time you lean into it, you teach yourself that you are capable of more than you thought. You're building discipline, self-mastery, and an inner backbone that refuses to be bent by momentary urges or fleeting pleasures. Start seeing discomfort as a signal, not a punishment. That twinge of resistance you feel before doing something hard, acknowledge it. Recognize that this is the exact moment your habits are being forged. Epictetus said, "Difficulty shows what men are." Let that sink in. Every time your mind screams to take the easy route, to postpone, to give in, that's your opportunity. Lean into it. Pause, breathe, and choose deliberately to take the small action that your weaker self is resisting. It doesn't need to be a grand gesture. Even tiny choices, a deliberate stretch in the morning, holding yourself to a focused task, saying no when your impulses say yes, train your mind to tolerate and even embrace discomfort. Over time, that tolerance accumulates into strength. One way to practice this is to create what I call micro-discomfort exercises. Pick one small habit that feels mildly uncomfortable to you, not terrifying, not overwhelming, just slightly outside your comfort zone. Do it daily. It might be holding your attention on a difficult task for 5 extra minutes, deliberately confronting a frustrating thought without distraction, or pausing before acting on an impulse. The key is consistency and reflection. After each session, notice how your mind reacts. Notice the surge of relief, the subtle triumph, the recognition that you survived and even thrived in a situation that previously would have triggered avoidance. That reflection is crucial because it reinforces your new understanding. Discomfort is not destruction, it is growth. Leaning into discomfort also rewires your relationship with temptation. Weak habits feed on avoidance, on the desire for comfort, on the constant need for ease. But when you embrace the Stoic mindset, you realize that real freedom lies in choosing what is right over what is easy. Reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Your mind is your battlefield. Each moment of intentional discomfort is a victory, a tiny conquest over your default reactions, a reprogramming of your neural pathways toward resilience. And here's the subtle secret. Discomfort practiced consistently doesn't stay uncomfortable forever. The more you do it, the more natural it feels. The weaker impulses lose their grip because your baseline shifts. You no longer define yourself by avoidance but by deliberate action, by persistence in the face of unease, by a quiet strength that cannot be derailed by momentary urges. You begin to see weak habits for what they are, chains you choose not to break or choose finally to shatter. You are no longer a passive participant in your routines. You are the sculptor, chiseling away the excess until only what is strong, resilient, and aligned with your purpose remains. So start today. Pick a small discomfort and lean into it. Hold yourself accountable. Notice your reactions, breathe through the tension, and persist. Each moment of intentional discomfort is a building block for habit transformation, a step towards self-mastery that no fleeting pleasure or easy escape can ever replicate. The Stoics knew it, and now so do you. Discomfort isn't the enemy, it's the ally you've been waiting for, the quiet architect of a stronger, sharper, unbreakable you. Number 5, commit to consistency over motivation. Mastery is gradual. Let's be honest, motivation is fleeting. One day you feel unstoppable, ready to conquer the world, and the next, even the smallest task feels like climbing a mountain. That's why relying on motivation alone is a trap, and why Stoicism teaches us to commit to consistency over motivation. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Every day you wait for inspiration to strike is a day lost. Mastery doesn't arrive on a wave of enthusiasm. It grows quietly, patiently, from repeated action. It grows when you show up day after day, even when your energy wanes, even when your mind protests. Consistency is a quiet force. It doesn't announce itself, but its results are undeniable. Imagine a single drop of water falling on a stone over and over. Eventually, the stone yields. That's what consistency does to your habits, your character, your life. When you commit to showing up even when it's hard, you create a momentum that motivation could never sustain. Reminds us, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Don't wait to feel like it, act like it. Do the work, keep the routine. Trust that the accumulation of small, steady efforts will transform you. Here's how you can put this into practice. Pick one habit you want to build or one weak habit you want to destroy. Focus on it daily, but make it manageable. Don't aim for perfection. A small, consistent step is worth infinitely more than a grand, sporadic effort. Maybe it's 5 minutes of focused reflection each morning, a short exercise, a controlled pause before reacting to irritation, whatever aligns with the change you want. The key is repetition. Create a ritual. Anchor it to something you already do. Link it to your morning coffee, your commute, or your evening wind down. The more automatic it becomes, the less it depends on fleeting motivation. Another powerful exercise is the minimum daily action. Decide on the absolute smallest action that counts as progress and commit to it every day. Even if it's tiny, doing it daily reinforces the habit. You're training yourself in discipline, in self-control, in mastery. Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly." Mastery, strength, resilience, they're not instantaneous. They're built incrementally, brick by brick, through persistence. Each day you honor your commitment, you lay another brick. Miss a day, and you interrupt the foundation. Consistency isn't glamorous, but it's what separates those who merely dream from those who achieve. Finally, recognize the internal shift that consistency fosters. When you rely on action over motivation, you reclaim power over your mind. You stop waiting for circumstances to align or for your emotions to cooperate. You act, you choose, you grow. Over time, this builds an unshakable confidence, a sense of control that others can't manipulate and that no fleeting feeling can shake. You become the master of your impulses rather than their servant. So start today. Pick that one habit or weak behavior. Do the small action. Do it again tomorrow and the day after. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for motivation to spark. Just show up. Every drop, every repetition, every act of commitment matters. Mastery isn't a sudden gift. It's a reward earned through the relentless, patient force of consistency. Stick with it, trust the process, and watch as your deliberate, persistent actions destroy the weak habits that once held you back, transforming you into someone stronger, calmer, and truly in control. As Seneca once said, "We are always complaining that our days are few and acting as though there would be no end to them." Every weak habit you allow to linger quietly steals pieces of your life, your energy, your focus. But now you've seen the truth. These habits aren't just small annoyances, they're silent saboteurs. The question is, will you continue to let them control you, or will you act? Remember, the path to Stoic self-mastery isn't about perfection. It's about awareness, choice, and consistent action. The moment you recognize a weak habit and take deliberate steps to uproot it, you reclaim a part of yourself that was quietly slipping away. If you take just one insight from today's video and put it into practice, you're already ahead of where you were yesterday. And imagine if you applied all of them. Your life would begin to shift in ways you can't even predict yet. So don't wait. Reflect on the habits that are quietly holding you back, confront them with courage, and take action today. And if you want to continue building unshakable self-mastery, make sure to watch the rest of our series. You'll discover how to turn every challenge into strength, every weakness into a stepping stone. Your journey to true Stoic mastery starts now.